Hi everyone, welcome to Live Stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's class is all about spinal fluidity. The whole time that you're moving on the mat today, I want you to focus on your spine being the epicenter from which all of your other movements originate. Having a strong and flexible spine not only alleviates niggles and tightness in the back, but it also makes you look longer and leaner. We're going to begin with a little bit of gentle mobilization through the trunk and the spine from a seated position. Then we'll flow through 2 rounds of moon salutation as part of our dynamic warm-up before we settle in and start holding the poses a little bit longer, looking for additional length, not only in the spine, but also beginning to play with soft rotational movements to make that spine flexible and stronger. As always, play within your range of motion and modify the movement if you need to. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class sitting in easy sitting, Sukhasana. Sit in a cross-legged position on the mat. Let's all lead with our right leg in front and just place your hands softly on the top of your knees. Think of that length through the spine, giving me a beautiful long line from your tailbone to your crown, and then gently begin with a little bit of pelvic rotation. Start your movement small and begin making your circles progressively bigger. You can close the eyes and take your focus in. Give me a big breath as you come forward and exhale, pulling the ribs in towards the diaphragm as you come back. Think of a long line through the spine and think of a coiling energy beginning at the base of your spine and working its way towards the very crown of your head. Let's do 2 more gentle pelvic circles in this direction. And then open your eyes softly. Take a big breath in and float your right fingertips and maybe the palm to the mat. Soften through the elbow and just give me a gentle overhead stretch on the left. Don't force the side stretch at this stage. Just make your elbow and your shoulder blade on the right heavy to the mat and keep your gaze in neutral at this time. Gently bring it back towards the center line and take your stretch to the other side. Softening through the left elbow and shoulder, lengthening overhead with the right arm, giving me a nice stretch through the rib cage and the trunk. Come back towards the center line, take a big breath in, and give me a soft rotation to the right, placing the right fingertips on the mat behind you and cupping with your left hand on the outside of the right knee. Think of that long line through the spine. Don't bow shape through your back. Long and lengthened through the trunk, and your chin line soft and parallel to the floor. Big breath in, come back towards the center line and take your rotation gently in the opposite direction. Keep your bum bones equally weighted and think of that length through the axis of your spine. Come back towards the midline of the body and gently fold forward, creeping your hands forward, maybe just fingertips or palms and elbows, or if you've got a block, maybe placing a block on the floor in front of you and just giving me a soft lean in position. Don't force the stretch, keep it really gentle at first. Try and come out through the lower back as you gently fold forward. Peel up along the center line, uncurl your legs and come into a gate line on the mat, bending your right leg and extending the left and placing your fingertips or your right palm on the floor. If you can't comfortably reach the floor, use your block in any dimension and get a lean in position into the block. More or less, big toe and knee in a straight line and give me a soft T frame through the arms. We're just going to hold that T frame and play with the top arm. Think of hugging the top arm in towards your ear, giving me more length through the spine, the rib cage, and the trunk. Beautiful long waist extender. Come back towards your soft T frame. Big breath in, let's say for 5 breaths. On the exhale, lengthen through your trunk and your torso. Let's do one more. Big breath in for 5, exhale for 10 as you lengthen through that arm. Sit back down on the mat and tuck back into Sukhasana, this time leading with the left leg in front. Hands down on your knees, begin your circles, your pelvic circles in the opposite direction. So anti-clockwise this time towards your left knee. Close your eyes if you need to. Take your focus in. Big breath in as you circle forward. Exhale and squeeze the rib cage in towards your body. Almost thinking of compressing the lungs and squeezing all of the air out. Think of that long spine. Think of that coiling energy system beginning at the base of your spine, curling up along the spine and exiting through the crown of your head. Come to stillness along the midline of the body and place your left fingertips or fingertips and palm on the floor as you soften through the bottom elbow and give me a soft overhead stretch. This time, gently rotating your head and peeking softly up towards the ceiling. So the ceiling is your drishti, your focal point. Come back towards the midline of the body and creep your right fingertips and elbows softly down to the mat as you take the overhead stretch in the opposite direction. Long and lengthen through the spine, even though you're leaning softly to one side. Try to get as much length through the spine as you can. Come back towards the center line, take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, rotate over the midline of the body to look over the left shoulder. Left fingertips softly on the floor behind you. Don't lock out the back arm, just give me as much length through the spine as you can, almost as if you wanted to come out through the hip bones and lengthen your trunk towards the ceiling. Inhale, come back towards the center line, and exhale as you softly twist in the opposite direction. Find your way back towards the midline of the body, and on an exhale, softly fold forward towards the mat, nodding your head down towards the floor, almost as if you were taking a bow, and don't force the stretch. Peel softly up along the midline of the body and find your gate line on the left side, bending the left leg and extending the right. Lining up your big toe and your knee more or less in a straight line, fingertips or block or flat hand on the floor as you float your arms into a soft T-frame. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, gently bring that arm overhead, almost as if you wanted to frame the ear on the right. Bring it back towards the midline of the body, inhaling for, let's say, 5 counts. Exhale and maybe softly rotate and peek up to the ceiling. Give me as much length through the spine as you can. We're going to do one more, and then we'll gently find our way to the top of the mat, and we'll start running through moon salutation. Come back towards the midline of the body, just giving me a soft kneeling frame on the mat. Maybe tuck both hands into your lower back and give me a gentle camel line. Side view, you've got your feet soft and relaxed, or tuck the toes under, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Keep your hips softly stacking over your knees. Nod your chin softly towards your chest. Connect your fingertips to the mat. Softly peel up and walk your way towards the front of the mat. Peeling up with a soft knee, we're going to set ourselves up for Chandra Namaskar. Standing with your feet stacking underneath your hips in parallel, float your hands together with your palms looking up to the ceiling as if you were holding a ball in your hands. This will be your start and your end position for each round. Take a big breath in and float your hands into your lower back, taking a supported back bend. Exhale and fold forward with a big bend in your knees, thinking chest to knees, palms up. Roll back up, hands come to your lower back, take the standing back bend. Exhale and sigh as you come down. We're going to do one more. This time as you fold down, step back with your left leg. Knife edge your back foot, ground your front foot, and float your right hand overhead and behind you as you find a modified side plank. Pivot, face away from me, and side squat lunge as you dangle the arms down towards the floor. If you can't reach the floor, just make your movement a little bit higher up on the mat and bend the alternate knee. Give me a lunge line on the left leg and step back into a plank. Drop to your knees, relax your feet, and find puppy or extended cat by gently extending the arms on the mat, trying to connect your chin and your chest as you pike your bum up to the ceiling, taking a beautiful stretch through the chest and the arms. Drag it forward onto your belly and set up a gentle cobra line, hugging your elbows in. To play, give me a little shrug and a release into the shoulders and start lengthening through your spine. Tuck your toes under, float your bum up to the ceiling, find a soft down dog frame and play with the movement through the knees and the hips, like a dog wagging its tail. Still your down dog and kick up the left leg behind you in a three-legged dog. Give me a soft changeover. Swing the right leg through, trying to stack underneath your hips and step up the left. Softly roll it up, hands come into your lower back for support. Find your way back to your start position, palms up to the ceiling. Let's begin flowing. Big breath in, take a back bend. Exhale and sigh as you come down. Peel it back up, hands in your lower back, take a little back bend. Exhale and sigh as you come down. One more time. As you come down, take a big step back with your right leg. Knife edge your back leg, ground your front foot, and find your side plank flow. Pivot, face away, and side squat lunge, opening up as much as you can through the groin and trying to come progressively lower to the floor so that you can feel the groins opening up. Give me a lunge line on the right. Step back into a plank. Connect the knees to the mat, relax your feet, come into a beautiful extended line on the mat, thinking puppy, chin and chest connecting to the mat. Drag it forward onto your belly, set up your cobra, play, shrug, and release into the shoulders. Tuck your toes under, find your way into a down dog frame, and move through the knees and the hips. Let's kick up the right leg first on this side, finding three-legged dog, hips nice and squared to the floor. Change it up. Kick up the left leg behind you. Swing through, stacking underneath your hips. Roll it up, hands come into your lower back. Float back to your start position, palms looking up to the ceiling. Big breath in, take a back bend. Exhale as you come down in Chandra Uttanasana. Rinse and repeat. One more. As you come down, you're going to take a big step back with your left leg. Knife edge your back foot, ground your front foot, and find your side plank flow. Soma Chandrasana 1 and 2. Gently pivot. Begin side squat lunging. Thinking of dangling your arms down as you find Sahaya Ardha Malasana, spontaneous half squat. Give me a lunge line on the left leg and ease your way into a plank, Kumbhakasana. Drop to the knees, relax your feet, find your extended puppy line, opening up into a full heart opener, beautiful Anahatasana. Drag it forward onto your belly, set up your cobra, Bhujangasana, or play in spontaneous cobra, Sahaya Bhujangasana. Tuck your toes under, float your bum up to the ceiling, and begin moving through the knees and the hips in blissful dog, Svananda. Still your dog and kick up into a three-legged dog on the left, Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's change it up. Kick up the right leg. Swing through, trying to stack under the hips as you find the Chandra Uttanasana. Peel up along the center line, float the hands into your lower back, taking a standing back bend, opening up your chest and floating back to your start position. Last round on the right. Take the back bend and exhale as you come down. Doing that twice more. The next time you gently fold forward, take a big step back with your right leg, knife edge your back foot, find your side plank and begin your gentle flow, playing with that left arm, taking it in front and behind you. Pivot, side squat lunge, come low to the floor, drop that bum and really open up through the groin. Find a lunge line on the right and ease back into a plank line. Drop to the knees, relax your feet, extend the arms out in front, trying to connect your chin and your chest while piking your bum up and pulling that belly button in. Drag it forward, set up a soft cobra line, shrug, release, let go of that tension in the shoulders. It's Friday, let it go. Tuck your toes under and find your way into a soft down dog frame as you move through the knees and your hips. Let's kick up the right leg behind us in a three-legged dog. Keep your shoulders and hips nice and squared to the floor. Change it up. Lengthen through that back leg and spine. Step through, trying to stack underneath your hips. Soften through the knees, roll it up, hands come into your lower back, take that beautiful standing back bend, and then ease your way back to your start position. Close your eyes, take your focus in for a minute, and just find your sense of balance and root through the feet, and think of that long, beautiful line through your spine. We're going to start playing with a short primary sequence. Give me a soft forward fold, Chandra Uttanasana, and step back into a down dog frame. Hands more or less shoulder width apart, feet hip width distance apart, push into both hands, push into both feet. Hold your down dog or relax the dog and hold by bending the knees, thinking knees to chest, pushing into the palms as if you wanted to push away from the mat and trying to bring your chest as close to the tops of your thighs and your knees as you can. Feeling a nice stretch into the back chain of the legs. Try and not drop your head towards the floor, but give me a long line from the nape of your neck through the mid-back. Then gently ease your way back into your down dog. We're going to find an arching dog on the right. Kick up the right leg behind you, finding a three-legged frame, and then bend the right knee and point the toes softly up towards the ceiling. Open up the knee to the right, drop the foot to the left, arching slightly through the back as you peek over the left shoulder for that foot. Zipper up on the inside of your ankle bone on the left, feeling all the way along the inner thighs, pulling up through the pelvic floor towards your waistline to protect your back. Stay or find your way into Wild Thing, Kamaktrasana, by rotating your pelvis up towards the ceiling, dropping your right foot to the floor. Don't drop your bum, squeeze the glutes and try to bring both of your hip bones up towards the ceiling. Give me a soft arch through the back and look up towards the palm of your top arm. Try to ground through both feet or maybe just tip toe on the right. Hold Kamaktrasana, and then we're going to ease our way into a pigeon line, leading with the right leg in front. Find your way back to a down dog frame, and then swing your right leg in. Think almost knee to nose, rotating the leg in, lining up the knee and the ankle in a straight line, or tucking the heel in closer to your perineum. Relax the top leg to the floor, relax the back knee, relax the back foot. Slide the back leg away from you and try to walk your fingertips up towards your body line. Maybe just dropping your fingertips to the mat. If holding this position feels really uncomfortable for you, Take your block, use the knife edge portion of the block, and tuck it, wedge it, just where your bum crease is on the right, so that you can lean the weight into the block. Hold your pigeon line nice and high, squeeze those inner thighs, think of pulling up a zip from your pubic bone towards your waistline, dropping your fingertips just softly to the mat and bending gently through the elbows as you give me as much length through the spine, almost as if you wanted to push the fingertips into the mat and lift off the mat and grow your crown towards the ceiling. Hold your pigeon line. Ekapada Rayaka Potasana. We're going to bring it gently down onto the elbows. Creep the hands out in front of you and try to ease your way onto the elbows. If this feels good, see if you can come into full extension. Keep creeping the hands away from you and maybe softly drape your head between the two hands, trying to connect your forehead to the mat as you extend softly out through the arms. Try to keep your shoulder line and your pelvic line square to the floor. Try not to drop lower on one of your bum bones at this stage. Pretend that you've got a little strip of mercury floating between the two bum bones and you're trying to keep them as equal as you can. Hold for a few more breaths here. Then we'll ease our way onto the elbows and find a soft rotational movement. Start bending softly through the elbows and creep the arms back so that your elbows are stacking underneath your armpit. Rotate the left arm in so that it's parallel to the front of your mat. Take a big breath in and float your right arm up to the ceiling. You should feel your right heel bone digging into your lower abdominal cavity. Stay here or gently tuck the right arm behind your back, taking the middle index finger and thumb and trying to find a big toe grip on that lead leg. Gently rotate and peek up towards the ceiling, giving me a soft rotational movement through the spine. Stay here for 5 more breaths. When you're ready to unbind, uncouple. Find your way back onto the elbows and then gently walk your hands back to your start position. Either staying here with your fingertips connected to the mat or bend your extended back leg, reach back left hand to foot, squeeze those inner thighs, use a block underneath your right thigh if you need to for support, and see if you can float the right arm behind you. Hugging that foot in, maybe interlacing the hands and tucking your foot into the interlaced hands and pushing with your foot, resisting against those hands and giving me as much length through the spine as you can. Give me 3 or 4 more breaths here, playing where you're comfortable. And we'll find our way into a camel line from here. Gently uncouple. If you've got that block underneath your bum, feed it out, move it to the side, and come into a soft kneeling frame on the mat with your feet soft and relaxed in the mat behind you. Peel up along the center line, tuck both hands into your lower back and give me a supported camel line. Try not to lean your body line back. Try to keep your hips stacked softly over your knees and keep your chin line in neutral as you give me a gentle arch through the spine. Gently drop the arms at your sides, nod your chin towards your chest, and then find your way onto the fingertips and the palms. Bend the elbows, slide your legs behind you, and think cobra, but with the elbows underneath your armpits as you morph into sphinx. So you've got those elbows tucked underneath your armpit. You're not collapsing through the arms. You're pushing with the elbows, trying to grow as much as you can through the mid and the top section of your spine. Keeping your gaze in neutral, or play by finding your way into king pigeon by bending one knee at a time, softly pointing the toes towards the ceiling and arching through the back, almost dropping the crown of your head back and stretching that little turkey waddle underneath your chin. Don't collapse. Keep pushing the floor away with your elbows. Just play with the arch of your back. Don't force it. Keep it really gentle. Extend one leg at a time. Bring your chin line back into neutral and maybe look down towards the floor. Keep pushing away with the elbows. Bend in one knee at a time, tucking almost into a little rounded ball frame. Think child, but with your feet soft and relaxed, and creep your way onto the hands, rounding out into almost a mini cat stretch and just releasing any tension in the lower back. From here, find your way back into a camel line, but this time tuck the toes underneath you. Support your lower back and find your camel line. If you feel you've got more play, maybe reach back with one hand, connecting to your heel bone. Repeat on the other side. You can bring your body line slightly back just to connect, but once you've connected, try to bring your hips forward again over your knees. Keep your chin line in neutral or gently throw back, depending on how much mobility you have through the spine and the neck. Work within your range of motion. Softly uncouple, drop the arms at your sides and come into a deep squat. Step out on the right leg, splaying your feet slightly out, maybe connecting your fingertips to the mat, and repeat on the left. Opening up the legs as wide as you need to come into a deep squat line. With your elbows bent, hands in prayer, kick out through the elbows and open up through the groin area. Stay or play. To play, bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot and rotate the right arm up to the ceiling. Either stay here or come into a half squat bind by taking your left hand, rotating and tucking around your knee. Bring the right arm behind your back and see if you can maybe bring the hands into a little bear grip behind your back. You could even use a belt or a strap if you're struggling to make that connection behind your back, and just see if you can't come into a bind using the strap to assist. We're going to repeat that little half bounce stretch to the other side. Place your right palm on the inside of your right knee. Rotate and open up through the left shoulder. Stay here or rotate and tuck around your right leg with your right arm, trying to bring or float the left arm behind your back and coming into a soft bind behind your back. Float back towards the center line. Connect both hands to the mat and find your way into a down dog frame. Move through the knees and the hips in Spinal, blissful dog. Just release any tension that you're feeling in the hip area. Use the movement playfully, spontaneously, and then settle into your down dog. We're going to repeat that sequence on the left. Find your down dog frame. Hands more or less shoulder width apart, feet hip width distance apart, piking your bum up to the ceiling and lengthening from your tailbone to the nape of your neck. Relax your dog. Bend your knees, bringing the weight onto your toes. Heels are nicely arched off the floor, and you're trying to bring your chest as close to the top of your thighs as you can, giving as much length through the spine as you can. Ready to arch the dog on the left? Ease your way back into your original down dog frame. Kick up the left leg behind you, finding your three-legged dog. Bend the left knee and point the toes softly up to the ceiling. Drop the foot to the right, opening up the knee to the left as you gently arch through the back and peek over your right shoulder as if you were looking for that left foot. Make sure you zip it up all the way from the inside of your ankle bone on the right to your pubic bone, and from your pubic bone to your waistline to protect your lower back. Ready to play in Wild Thing? Think of dropping that left foot to the floor behind you. Rotate through the hips, bringing the hips up towards the ceiling, and softly float the left arm overhead. Maybe gently looking towards that left palm. That left palm is your drishti. Don't drop your bum to the floor. Booty nice and squeezed, and bring those hips up towards the ceiling. Find your way back into your down dog frame. And then find your way into pigeon. Maybe softly kick up that left leg behind you. Think knee to nose on the left. Tuck that lead leg in, finding an angle that works for you. Relax it to the floor. Relax your back knee. Relax your back foot. Slide that back leg away as you creep the hands up closer towards your body line. Fingertips are just gently connected to the floor. Give me a soft drop through the shoulders and the elbows, and just push with the tips of your fingers as if you were trying to launch off the mat and touch your crown to the ceiling. Lengthen as much as you can through the spine. Now creep your fingertips softly forward, trying to connect your palms and your elbows to the mat. If this feels good, come into full extension. Creep the hands away and think of softly framing your head with the arms, but just keep them soft like limp noodles as you focus on trying to square up your hip line, your pelvis, and your shoulders. Stay here for a couple of gentle, relaxed breath cycles. And then almost think Sphinx as you gently walk back onto the elbows stacking underneath your armpit. Rotate the right arm in so that it's parallel to the front of your mat. Take a big breath in and float the left arm up to the ceiling. Stay or play. To play, take that top arm, tuck it behind your back, reaching with the middle index finger and thumb for the big toe of your lead leg, finding a nice Padangusthasana lock. Rotate and peek up to the ceiling. If you're nice and low to the mat, you might be getting a nice little massage with the heel of that front foot into the lower viscera. Give me at least 5 more gentle breaths here. Then we'll find that beautiful little stretch through the quad. Find your way back onto the elbows. And then creep back to your fingertips. So bring the hands closer towards your body line. Staying here and just pushing with your fingertips against the floor. Or bend your extended back leg and reach the right arm for the front of your right ankle. Bracing into that hand. Use your inner thighs and your lower abs. So pull up towards your pelvic floor. See if you can maybe interlace the hands behind your back and then feed the front of your ankle and shin into that little crook that you've made with your arms. Pull away with your leg and resist with the arms and get as much length through the spine as you can. You're going to give me about 5 more gentle breaths here. Then we'll ease our way into our first camel line with the feet soft and relaxed on the mat. Gently uncouple. Find your way back onto the fingertips. Draw your back leg in, coming into a soft kneeling frame on the mat. Feet are soft and relaxed. Both hands into your lower back as you take that supported back bend. Then softly drop the arms at your sides and nod your chin towards your chest. You're going to find your way into a Sphinx line from here. Softly connect your palms and your elbows to the mat and extend the legs one at a time behind you. The weight is almost off your hip bones. Elbows are stacking underneath your armpit and you're not collapsing through your frame. You're pushing or resisting the mat with your elbows, growing as much as you can from your lower back through the mid and the top section of your back and giving me length through the spine. Find your Sphinx. Hold the Sphinx or find your way into King Pigeon by bending one knee at a time, softly pointing your toe towards the ceiling. Stay or give me a gentle arch through the back, thinking of trying to touch the crown of your head with the tips of your toes. If you're uber flexible, you may be able to make the toes touch your head. That's not happening for me today. So just play where you're comfortable. Gently extend one leg at a time and think of rounding out into a soft cat frame through the back. Gently draw your knees in closer towards your body line. Maybe tucking the toes under, rounding out through the spine, giving me a soft release of any tension in the mid and low back. And then ease your way back into a camel line. This time keeping the toes tucked behind you. Support your lower back with both hands or reach one hand at a time for your heel. Bring your hip line forward again, trying to stack hips and knees. Keeping your chin line in neutral or throwing the head back gently, whichever works for you today. Squeezing the two shoulders in towards the midline and really trying to get as much flexibility through the spine as you can. Drop the arms softly at your side and find your way into a squat line. Stepping up one leg at a time. Take the squat line as wide as you need to. Float your hands into prayer. Push it. Coming into a low squat is not for you. Bring your stance up higher and maybe just hang on the top of your thighs and hold here. You can work your stretch one hand at a time. Let's bring the right hand to the inside of the right leg. Float the left arm behind you. Maybe binding around the right leg and finding a grip behind your back. If you're using the modification, maybe just right hand to the inside of the knee. Float the left arm up, maybe tucking behind your back and just peeking up towards the ceiling. Ready to play on the left? Mimic on the left, left hand to the inside of the left leg. Float the right arm up to the ceiling, tucking behind your back. Try to bind around the left leg, almost hugging that leg in towards your chest as you gently open up and rotate, peeking up to the ceiling. You're going to give me a few more breaths here, then we'll find our way into a seated staff position, Dandasana, at the front of the mat. Uncouple, come back towards the midline of the body, and with care, drop back onto your bottom and extend the legs one at a time in front of you. Give me a little shake out if you need it. Find staff pose. Sitting up nice and tall. Make sure you're not slouching and quasimodoing out on me. Move your bum flesh out the way. Make sure that you can feel your bum bones firmly grounded into the mat. Drop the arms softly at your side, maybe flat hand or fingertips, and give me as much length through the spine as you can, keeping your chin line parallel to the floor. You can brace softly into your feet, either bringing your heels off the mat or just giving me a soft extended line, depending on how tight you are through the back chain of the legs. But your focus is lower back and shoulders against the wall. We're not slouching. You're giving me as much length through the spine as you can comfortably manage. Then gently ease your way down onto the elbows, one at a time, stacking the elbows underneath your armpit. Don't collapse. I want you to push the floor away and grow as much through that arch in your spine as you can, almost as if you were coming into fish pose, Matsyasana. Lengthen and feel your bum bones equally weighted into the mat. Then bend your knees one at a time and draw your feet in towards the midline of the body. Staying here with a bent knee or extending your legs softly up towards the ceiling. Don't round out, lengthen through your spine, tailbone to crown. Softly drop your right leg and hover it just off the floor if you can, or keep your movement smaller, maybe at 75. Scissor in the opposite direction. Come back to your start position, bend the knees, connect your feet to the mat and find your way down onto the back, relaxing your back line into the mat. We're coming into a bridge and you've got a couple of play options here. Open up your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart and scooch your feet closer to your bum line. Begin in a neutral spine, little space between your lower back and the mat. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Begin rolling up one vertebra at a time through the spine, coming up nice and high on the shoulder blades as you find your bridge line, keeping your chin tucked towards the chest. Stay or play. To play, Bend the elbows and give me a little L shape between your index finger and the thumb. Tuck that brace underneath your back so that you're supporting the weight of your lower back as you make a little basket of support for your bridge line. Wiggle in and find a nice rest spot here. Stay or play. To play, float your right leg softly up to the ceiling and keep squeezing the glute and the hamstring on the left to hold your bridge line. Change legs. Coming into your one-legged bridge, Eka Pada Setu Bandha. Reconnect to the mat. Release your brace. Open up that tight knot between the shoulders and roll down one vertebra at a time. As soon as your back line connects to the mat, hug both knees in towards your chest and cradle rock your lower back out. Come back into the same soft setup for your bridge frame with the soles of your feet connected to the mat and the knees bent. Lift both bum bones off the mat and scoot your weight slightly off center to the right. Reconnect your bum to the mat and float your hands into a goalpost frame with the back of your palms connected to the mat and the palms looking up to the ceiling. Draw your legs up into a soft tabletop frame. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, drop both knees softly to the left as you look to the right. If you need more stretch, place the left fingertips on the outside of your right knee and gently tug down. Come back towards the center line. Stay, rinse and repeat, or cross your right leg over your left as if you were sitting cross-legged on the couch. Keep your feet loose or take your right toes and tuck them behind your calf line on the left. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, drop both knees to the left as you look to the right. Coming into a little eagle twist, trying to drop your legs as low as your range of motion will allow for, while trying to keep your right shoulder blade as soft and connected to the mat as you can manage. If coming into this twisted frame is too much for you, just repeat our first twist with your knees softly stacked and just dropping them as close to the floor line as you're comfortable. Come back towards the midline of the body, slowly and with care. Unbind your feet and drop the soles of your feet to the mat. Lift your bum up off the mat and come back to the center line. Drawing your legs up into a tabletop line, place your hands palms down on the knee and trace a little circular pattern clockwise, relaxing and releasing your lower back and your sacrum. Trace your pattern in the opposite direction, just focusing on releasing that lower back. We're going to use a little spinal roll to come into a seated frame. Tuck into a little ball frame. If rocking back and forth is not for you, just roll over onto your side and push up. You're going to gently rock back and forth, giving you a rounded C-curve frame through your spine as you rock the weight just off your tailbone and as far as your shoulder blades. Sit up nice and tall, drag the big toes away from you, coming into a soft Paschimottanasana, trying to bind around the feet as you think nose to knee. If the feet are not accessible, reach for your block. Wedge it around your feet, hugging the block in towards your body line, or maybe using your strap if you prefer, or your towel if you don't have a strap, and just feeding it around your feet and floating your elbows wide. Wherever you are, try to relax your back. Think of your spinal column as being beautifully soft and elastic. And think of me gently pulling on the crown of your head. As I pull on the crown of your head, think of creating space between each vertebra so that your spine becomes super, super elastic and more pliable. Gently peel up along the center line. Find Dandasana, staff pose. Gently dropping your fingertips or your palms to the mat as you give me as much length through your spine as you can. Lower back and shoulders pressed against your imaginary wall. Bend one elbow, stacking behind you. Replicate on the other side. Think fish line, giving me a beautiful arch through your back. Don't collapse. Giving me a beautiful arch through the back and keeping your chin line soft and relaxed. Bend in your knees one at a time and float your legs softly to the ceiling. Keep lengthening through the spine and keep pushing your elbows into the mat as if you wanted to launch off the mat. Then softly drop the left leg down, hovering off the floor if you can, or keeping your angle more acute, and then scissor and repeat on side 2. Extend back towards the midline, bend through the knees, connect the soles of the feet, and ease your way onto the back, setting up your bridge line. Arms are soft and relaxed at your side, find neutral. Feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Tuck your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position and begin rolling up through your bridge line. Keeping it really basic and coming to rest on your shoulder blades, pushing your palms into the mat, or bending through the elbows, finding that little L-shaped brace and tucking it underneath your waistline on both sides. Settle into your bridge. Wiggle around if you need to, find the release in the lower back that you need. When you're ready, see if you can float the left leg up to the ceiling, giving me a soft point, or you can heel toe out if you've got any tension along the back of your leg. Reconnect the left leg and softly float the right leg up to the ceiling. Play with that leg line. Find the release that you need. Reconnect both feet. Find your bridge. Let go of that brace behind your back. Open up the tight knot between the shoulder blades and roll down really carefully, one rib at a time, one vertebra at a time as you reconnect. Once you've found your way back into neutral, hug both knees into the chest and cradle rock your lower back out. Drop the soles of your feet to the mat as if you were preparing for bridge. Lift both bum bones off the mat and scooch slightly off center to the left. Draw your legs up into a tabletop frame and give me a goalpost frame through the arms. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, drop both knees to the right as you look to the left, trying to keep your left shoulder blade softly connected to the mat. Work within your range of motion. Float softly back towards the midline of the body. Repeat this one, or cross the left leg over the right, trying to bind behind the calf if you can. Then drop both legs to the left, up to the right as you look to the left. If this is not happening for you, keep the knees softly together in table and just repeat your first twist, dropping both legs to the right as you look to the left. Wherever you're playing, try to keep that left shoulder softly grounded into the mat. Peel your way softly back towards the midline of the body. Connect, unbind your feet if you were in the eagle bind. Drop the soles of your feet to the mat. Lift your bum bones off. Come back to the center line. Once you've found your center, draw the legs into table and trace a little circular release with the knees, just releasing that lower back. Repeat in the opposite direction. And then find your little spinal roll, maybe just giving me 3 or 4 rocks just to release any tension in the spine. Make sure that you're rounding out in C-curve and rocking only as far as your shoulder blades and back up just off your tailbone. Come back into Paschimottanasana, giving me a beautiful little forward fold, trying to bind around your feet. The back chain of the legs is tight. Just wiggle it out and then settle into your stretch, giving me as much length through the spine as you can. Visualize your spinal column being beautifully soft and elastic like a bungee cord. Visualize me gently pulling on the crown of your head. As I pull on the crown of your head, try to relax your lower back and your sacrum area and try to drape your torso on the top of your thighs. When you're ready, gently peel up along the center line and change your orientation slightly on the mat, extending the right leg, bending the left knee and placing the sole of the foot on the inside of your right leg. Pivot, but you're facing the right leg. Take a big breath in and try to place your right palm and elbow gently on the floor or use a block as a prop. Reach over, cross over the midline of the body with your left hand to grab your left foot or grab anywhere along the chain of that leg that you can, or use your strap as a prop and see if you can come into a gentle twist. Work within your range of motion, playing where you're comfortable. Softly dropping and weighting your right palm and elbow to the floor and peeking over that right shoulder to the floor behind you as you gently twist through the spine. Come back towards the midline of the body and tuck your right leg in front of your left, coming into Sukhasana. Creep your fingertips forward on the mat and try to softly drape your torso to the mat. Your spine should be a lot warmer than when you began the class, so the forward fold should be feel a lot more natural and a lot more comfortable from Sukhasana. Come back towards the midline of the body, take a big breath in, float the right fingertips to the floor behind you and take a gentle twist to the right. Lengthen as much as you can through the spine and make sure your bum bones are equally weighted. Inhale, come back towards the center line and softly take your rotation in the opposite direction. Left fingertips softly on the floor behind you. Don't hyperextend the back arm. Give me length from the tailbone to your crown as you grip opposite hand to front knee. Peel back towards the midline of the body and extend the left leg out, tucking the right sole to the inside of the left leg. Readjust your bum bones on the mat and pivot to face your left leg. Place your left hand and elbow on the floor or use the block on the floor. Cross over the midline of the body, reaching for the outside of your left foot or holding anywhere along the chain of the leg that you can connect to using your strap if you need it, and gently come into a twist, looking over that left shoulder to the floor behind you as you try to bring your chest as close to the top of your thigh as you can manage. Keep your belly button softly pulled in and play with that rotational movement through the spine, playing where you're comfortable. Peel back up along the midline of the body and tuck back into Sukhasana, easy sitting, leading with the left leg in front. Drop your fingertips to the mat and give me a soft forward fold. Just draping your head down. If you're feeling any tension on the neck, softly rotate your head to the left and to the right, making your crown heavy and just releasing any tension along the neck and the upper back area. Peel softly up along the midline of the body. Take a big breath in, let's say for 5. On an exhale, softly rotate to the left, cupping opposite hand to lead leg as you come into a long lengthened line through the spine. Inhale, come back to the center line, and on a beautiful long exhale, take the twist in the opposite direction. Lengthen as much as you can through the spine. Come back towards the midline of the body, settling into your easy seat, and float your hands to gentle prayer. Just allow the elbows to softly track down towards the floor. And just think of that length through the spine. Make sure that you're not bowing out through the back. Give me a long line, ground through your tailbone, ground through your bum bones, and lengthen from the base of your spine to the very crown of your head. Namaste. to you all. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this class. Remember to shoot me your comments. Thank you so much for coming out and playing. I shall see you all for playtime on the mat on Monday. Until then, keep it light.